Hey everyone, it's Rob, your California mortgage broker. Let me ask you something. Have you ever said, I'm just going to wait? Maybe prices will drop, maybe rates will drop, maybe next year will be better. If so, this video is for you because today I'm going to show you something almost no one is talking about. How much waiting actually costs you in real dollars, why waiting even 1 year can set you back more than you think, and how smart buyers still win even when rates feel high. And if you want personalized numbers while you watch, feel free to call or text at 209-640-1710 and I'll help you figure out what buying could look like for you. All right, let's get into it. Here's something important to understand. There's never a perfect market. Not last year, not this year, not next year. People waited in 2018, they waited in 2020, and they waited in 2022. And every single time, prices went up. Here's the truth. No one says out loud. California is built on long-term demand. People want to live here. Jobs are here. Wages are higher. There's not enough housing. So even when the market cools, it rarely crashes. It usually dips a little, then climbs again. So over the last probably, year and a half, my brother has been talking to me about the correction that's going to come. The housing market's going to come down. And so he's actually been really interested in one house in particular. It's actually the house that he bought. But here's the thing. Over the past year and a half that home has been on the market, it started off, and I think it was probably overpriced, obviously, because it didn't sell. And then it would go off the market, it would come back, and the pricing would be a little bit better. Then it wouldn't sell, and then it would come back on. And finally, after probably more than a year that the house has been on the market, my brother and I were having a conversation, and I'm like, just put in an offer. Who cares? Like, they can always say no, but just put in an offer. So probably over a year of that house being on the market, I'm finally like, hey, you've been waiting for this correction. You've watched this house literally go down in price for the past 12 plus months. That is your correction. So they went back and forth on negotiating the price of the house, and I think it ended up being $5,000 more than what he'd actually originally had offered. But here's the thing, he ended up getting the house for $115,000 less than what it had originally gone on the market for. That was the correction. So what I'm trying to say here is, if you're waiting for a crash or if you're waiting for a correction, I believe that correction has already happened. And I think as rates continue to come down, it is going to spike interest. What will actually happen is prices will actually start to go up because rates are coming down. Competition will heat up, so there'll be more demand. So people will be less likely to want to negotiate on the price of the home because there'll be bigger demand. So if you're stuck waiting for cheap California houses, don't wait in the dark. Call or text at 209-640-1710 and let's see what's possible right now. Let's look at real numbers because this is where everything becomes clear. So let's use that $700,000 home, and let's assume that in California, home prices tend to rise around 4% per year on average over the long term. So here's what happens if you wait 1 year. So the home price today is $700,000. The home price next year at a 4% increase is $728,000. You just paid an extra $28,000 more by waiting. That alone is a lot, but it gets worse. Your down payment also goes up. If you plan to put 5% down, today that's $35,000. Next year, that's $36,400. That's another $1,400 you have to save. Now let's add interest rates. If today's rates are around $6,700, but next year they're at 7.25, here's the difference. Today's payment will be $4,600. Next year's payment is going to be more like $5,000 a month. That's $400 more every month, or $4,800 a year every single year. So waiting 1 year could cost you $2,800 more for the home, $1,400 more for down payment, and $4,800 more months if rates go up. That doesn't include the equity that you could have built if you bought earlier. If this just made you gulp, text me right now at 209-640-1710 and I will break down the numbers for your situation. No pressure, just real clarity. So let's keep going, because here's the part almost no one talks about. When you wait, you also lose the equity your home would have gained. Take that same $700,000 home. If values go up 4% a year, year 1 is $28,000, year 2 is another $29,120, and year 3 is $30,285. In just 3 years, that's over $87,000 in equity you missed out on. That's money I'm sure you would have been grateful for if you would have purchased earlier. Because equity equals wealth. It's how families pay off debt, send kids to college, buy their next home, and build long-term security. Renting gives you none of that. Waiting gives you none of that. Wondering how much equity you could build starting today? Call or text me at 209-640-1710 and I'll run your numbers. It's free and easy. You don't beat the market by timing it. You beat the market by entering it. Here's how smart buyers navigate today's market. They buy the house now. They refinance it when the rate's lower. They build equity from day one. They stop paying someone else's mortgage. And the truth, your first home doesn't have to be your forever home. It just has to get you started, because the first home creates the equity that buys your next home. Don't let the market scare you out of your future. Text me at 209-640-1710 and let's talk about how you can start smart even if rates aren't perfect. People ask me this all the time. Rob, what if I buy now and prices dip? Great question. Here's the truth. If prices dip, it's usually temporary. California historically rebounds stronger than almost anywhere. And here's the best part. If prices drop, you buy your next home for less. If rates drop, you refinance. If nothing drops, you still gain equity. You only lose if you stay frozen on the sidelines. Not sure which move makes the most sense for you? Again, give us a call at 209-640-1710 and I'll walk you through your options. Here's what you can do right now to stop waiting and start planning smart. Find out your actual buying power. See what payment fits your comfort zone. Explore low down payment options. Build a 6 to 12 month plan if you're not quite ready yet. This is how to move forward. Not by guessing, not by hoping, but by planning. Let's build that plan together. So let's recap. Waiting usually costs you more in price, it costs more in equity, and it keeps you stuck paying someone else's mortgage. You don't have to buy today, but you do need to plan. So if you're wondering whether waiting makes sense for you, let's talk. Give us a call and let's build a strategy for you. No pressure, no sales pitch, just answers, clarity, and a smart step-by-step plan. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.